Today will be different. Today you will start. It will act. It will change. But the hours pass, and you see yourself repeating the same gestures, the same habits, the same thoughts that yesterday took you nowhere. Deep down, you know what you need to do. You know what you need to stop avoiding. But something inside you, invisible, sneaky, pulls you back, distracts you, weakens you. I convince you with sweet words to leave tomorrow what would make you strong today.
This is the battle that few see. It is not against the world. It is not against time. It is against yourself. It is against that part of yours that wants comfort, which runs away from the discomfort of change. It's against that voice that says, you don't have to be now, but as long as you advance, your strength falls asleep, and maybe you are tired of it, tired of promising and not fulfilling, tired of knowing that it can more, and yet stay small. But there is a way. There is an idea, a single idea that can break free from this cycle. It does not require perfection. It requires only one movement, not to abandon itself. And that's what Ralph Waldo Emerson will guide us in this video. Because winning yourself is not a grand war. It is a silent choice, made at the hardest moment, and real to your day. If this message has already aroused something inside you, subscribe now on the channel. Here, each video is a reminder of who you really are, and the silent force living in you. The pain of not being who you know is the most silent of all. Don't scream with you. It does not require immediate attention. He stays there, day after day, like a weight in the chest that you learn to take so well that you almost forgot that you are there. Almost. Because in those quiet times, when the noise of the world dies and you are alone with your thoughts, you feel it. This gap between who you are and who you could be. This distance between its potential and its reality. And it hurts in a difficult way to describe to anyone else. Ralph Waldo Emerson understood this pain better than most. Born in 1803 in Boston, Emerson was not just a philosopher or writer. He was someone who faced the fundamental question that haunts every human being. How do we become who we should be? How do we close this gap between our inner truth and our external reality? How do we stop being our worst enemy and start being our greatest ally? Emerson's response was revolutionary in its simplicity. He believed that the true hero is not the one who conquers nations or builds empires. The true hero is the one who is conquered. Not once, not at any dramatic time of transformation, but every day, in small acts of self-maturity that most people never realize. Think about it for a moment. Every great achievement in the history of humanity, with every advance, every moment of genuine progress, began with a person making a choice. It is not a choice to change the world, but a choice to change themselves. Act on alignment with your deeper values rather than your immediate impulses. Choose growth instead of comfort. Truth about convenience. Action on hesitation. Emerson has captured this beautifully when he wrote that what is behind you and what is in front of you is insignificant compared to what is within you. This is not just an inspiring rhetoric. This is a deep truth about the nature of human potential. Your past doesn't define you. His circumstances do not control him. Your fears do not have you. What matters is the power that exists within you now, right now, to choose who you want to be. But this is where most people understand wrong. They think this means they need to make big changes overnight. They think they need to become a completely different person tomorrow morning. They establish impossible standards, create unreal expectations, and then wonder why they continue to fail. Emerson knew better. He understood that the transformation is not about dramatic gestures. It is about daily decisions. It is about what he called the reconquest of the self. Every morning you wake up with a battlefield. It is not a physical battlefield, but mental and spiritual. On the one hand, you have the version of yourself that sets less, that gives in to fear, which chooses the easy way. On the other hand, you have the version of yourself that you get up to face challenges, which acts with courage, which chooses growth even when it is uncomfortable. The question is not if you will face this battle. The question is, which side will win? Most people lose this battle even before they realize that it is happening. They wake up reactive instead of proactives. They let their emotions dictate their actions instead of their values. They respond to life instead of creating it. But what if there was a different way? What if you could win this battle, not by force or willpower alone, but through a unique and powerful idea that could change everything? Here is the idea that changed my life and transformed the lives of thousands of people I worked with. You don't have to win the world, you just need to win today. Not forever, not next week, not tomorrow, just today, only right now, only in this decision that is in front of you now. This may seem too simple to be true, but that's exactly why it works. Most approaches to personal development fails because it is very complicated, too impressive, too focused on destination instead of the journey. But Emerson understood something deep about human nature. We change not through massive efforts, but through consistent choices. We become who should not be through dramatic transformations, but through daily decisions to align our actions with our deepest truths. Let you share with you 3 practical tools based on Emerson's philosophy that will help you overcome this daily battle with yourself. These are not theories or concepts. These are practices that work, that I have seen lives of change, which can change your life if you are willing to apply them. But before that, write in the comments now. Today, I choose to beat myself. This phrase is more than a comment. It is a pact with its strength. If you have gotten here, prove to yourself that you are ready to break the cycle. Do not guard, don't think too much. Write, now. Because your transformation begins with a simple decision, and this can be the first. Let's know the tools? The first is what I call ritual of the first choice. Emerson believed that the first decision of the day defines the tone of everything that follows. Think about it. What is the first choice you make when you wake up? Do you immediately take your phone, letting the world chaos flood your conscience even before you have a chance to focus? Do you press the nap button, literally starting your day avoiding the first challenge you face? Do you jump out of the bed in reactive mode, already feeling behind before you even start? Or do you make a conscious and intentional choice on how you want to appear? Do you take a moment to connect with your deeper goal, your values, your vision for who you want to be? Do you choose your first thought instead of letting your first thought choose you? This is not about having a perfect morning routine or following someone else's formula for success. It is a matter of recognizing that you have power, from the moment you open your eyes, to choose the direction of your day. It is about understanding that the first victory of the day, however small, creates impetus for every following victory. See how this works in practice. Before you do anything else, before checking your phone or start thinking about your task list or let your mind wander with all the things you are worried, take 30 seconds to make a conscious choice. It can be to choose to take a deep breath. It can be choosing to think of something you are grateful for. It can be choosing to define an intention of how you want to appear that day. Specific choice does not matter as much as you are aware, intentionally, of a place of alignment and not reaction. This simple practice begins to reprogram your relationship with yourself. Instead of being someone with whom things happen, you become someone who makes things happen. Instead of starting every day as a victim of your circumstances, you start every day as the author of your experience. And this change, this subtle but deep change in identity, changes everything. The second tool is what I call Diary of Victory Inner. Emerson believed that we became what we recognize and consistently celebrate. If you focus on your flaws, your weaknesses, your shortcomings, that's what grows. But if you focus on your victories, your progress, your moments of alignment, they expand. Most people specialize in realizing it when it looks short. They have a detailed mental inventory of each mistake, every moment of weakness, every time they do not fulfill their own standards. But they completely ignore the moments when they chose courage for comfort, action on hesitation, truth for convenience. They discount the small victories, the daily options that are actually building the base for lasting changes. The internal victory diary is a simple practice that changes this pattern. Every night, before going to bed, write a moment of that day you hit. Not when you beat someone else or have achieved some external goal, but when you choose the easiest on the easiest wrong. When you acted in alignment with your values, even when you were uncomfortable. When you appeared as the person you want to be, not the person your emotions or circumstances were pressing you to be. This may be the moment you chose to have a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it. It may be the moment when you did the work you have committed to doing instead of procrastinating. It may be the moment you responded with patience instead of anger, compassion instead of judgment, with action rather than worry. It may be the time when you chose silence when you wanted to complain, focus when you wanted to distract yourself, or discipline when you wanted to feel comfortable. The key is to value these moments, recognize them, let them sink into their identity, because every time you recognize a time when you hit, you are reinforcing the truth that you are someone who can hit. You are building evidence of a new identity, creating a new story about who you are and what you are capable. The third tool can be the most powerful of all. I call it a brave act of the day. Emerson wrote that what you do speaks so loud that he can't hear what you say. He understood that authentic transformation does not come from good intentions or positive thinking. It comes from brave action. For the desire to act according to his deepest truth, even when he is scary, even when he is uncertain, even when he goes against the crowd, every day you have opportunities to choose courage instead of comfort. Most of the time, you probably don't even realize these opportunities because they don't look like dramatic or heroic. They look common. They look like the choice to speak up at a meeting when everyone is silent. They look like the choice of seeking this creative project, even if you're not sure it is good enough. They look like the choice of having an honest conversation, even if it may be strange. They look like the choice to take care of your health, even if it requires discipline. The brave act of the day is a commitment to choose an action every day that moves you toward what you believe, not what you are comfortable. It is about practicing what Emerson called intentional authenticity. It is about closing the gap between who you are and who you want to be, one choice at a time. This does not mean that you need to do something terrifying every day. This means you need to do something true every day, something that aligns with your deepest values rather than your immediate impulses, something that serves your long-term vision instead of your short-term comfort, something that honors the person you are becoming and not the person you have. Here is what I discovered in my own life and working with thousands of others. When you consistently apply these 3 tools, when you make the first choice ritual, when you keep an inner victory diary, when you commit to a brave act every day, something remarkable happens. You start to trust yourself in a way you have never done before. You start to see evidence, concrete evidence, that you are someone who keeps appointments to yourself. You are someone with whom it can be counted, especially for you. And that changes everything. Like most of our problems, most of our struggles, most of our limitations, come from a fundamental fault of self-stretch. We do not believe that we will follow our commitments. We do not believe we will do what we say we will do. We do not believe we have what it takes to become who we want to be. So we are sabotaged, we excuses, we are content with less than we deserve, because deep down, we don't believe we are able to be able to. But when you start to overcome these daily battles with yourself, when you start creating a history of small wins, when you begin to prove yourself that you can choose growth instead of comfort, truth about convenience, action on hesitation, your whole relationship with yourself transforms. You stop being your worst enemy and start being your greatest ally. Emerson understood that this is the true work of a human being, not conquering the world, but conquering. Not changing everything at once, but changing yourself today. Not awaiting perfect conditions, but creating better conditions through better choices. I want you to imagine something to me. Close your eyes if you can, or just let your imagination get totally involved with what I'm about to describe. Imagine standing in an empty room. In front of you are 2 versions of yourself. A version represents who you are when you give in to temor, when you choose comfort about growth, when you let the circumstances dictate your answers. This version looks tired, defeated, renounced. There is a weight in his posture, a sadness in his eyes, the unmistakable appearance of someone who gave up his own potential. The other version represents who you are when you choose courage, when you act aligned with your deepest values, when you take responsibility for your life and your choices. This version remains high, with silent confidence, with the serene look of someone who learned to trust himself. There is a force in his presence, not the strength of someone who has never faced challenges, but the strength of someone who faced challenges and chose to grow through them. Now observe this second version. This version of yourself that has learned to overcome the daily battle with yourself begins to walk towards you. They move with purpose, of course, with the calm guarantee of someone who knows who and what they represent. As they approach, you can see it in their eyes. This is someone who has learned the secret that Emerson discovered over a century ago. The only war that matters, the only battle that can really change your life, is what you were yesterday and who you choose to be today. This version of oneself extends your hand and puts your hand on your shoulder. And at that moment, you understand something deep. This is not an impossible fantasy or dream. This is what you become when you constantly choose if you win every day, when you make the first choice consciously, when you recognize your internal victories, when you act boldly toward your truth. The distance between where you are now and where you want to be is not measured in years or massive changes or perfect conditions. It is measured in daily choices. It is measured in times of self-confidence. He is measured in his desire to combat the right enemy, the inner enemy, and overcome this fight one day at a time. You have everything you need to start this transformation now. You don't need more information.
You don't need perfect circumstances. You do not need permission from anyone else. You just need to make a choice. The choice to stop waiting and start becoming. The choice to stop fighting the world and start to conquer. The choice to close the gap between who you are and who you should be. Not a day, but today. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you will face the same choice you faced every morning of your life. You can let the day happen to you, or it can happen with the day. You can react to life, or you can create it. You can be defeated by yourself, or you can win in the most important sense of this sentence. You can choose to become who you should be. The only war that matters is what you were yesterday and who you choose to be today. Every morning you decide who wins this war. Every day you choose if you settle for who you have or become to become who you are able to be. The choice is yours. Power is yours. The time is now. What will you choose?